Hey and welcome back to Plug and Play EV, which you may have noticed has been on an unexpected hiatus over the last few weeks or so. Apologies for the lack of videos. We kind of got cut short in the middle of doing our summer road trips. We decided to take a trip over to the UK to see friends and family. So that has obviously cut into video production, and was hoping we could get something over there, maybe a little bit of a kind of European feel, but just wasn't able to get anything in the way of EV rental or much more than kind of photos and a few charging points. So we'll have a little bit on that trip in a future video, but basically we've just been kind of off the grid for a few weeks whilst we traveled over there. But we are back now. The intention here is to kind of pick up the flow of videos again where we left off in the middle of the trip to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, finish those off, get some takeaways from the summer travel, finish that video series, and then kick on into a more regular flow of videos here in the autumn. So obviously the kind of 800-pound gorilla in the room though is the Bolt EV recall. A lot of that happened whilst we were on the trip, so I didn't get to weigh in as much as I might have wanted to, but in this quick video we'll update on what's to come in the channel and where we are with the Bolt EV recall at this point in mid-September. Let's go. So as I say, we were in the UK for the middle to the latter half of August, and that was exactly when the Bolt EV recall, which had previously only impacted the 2017 to 2019 models, kind of widened and started a whole new chapter of GM's misfortune with LG Chem, or LG Energy Solutions as it is now, battery packs, and picked up the two defects that they'd highlighted before in the 2017 to 2019 recall, expanded it to the entire universe of Bolt EVs through our 2020 and 2021 models, and then even the refreshed 2022 Bolt EV and the new Bolt EUV, all underpinned by that same LG Energy Solutions manufactured pack. So we were kind of in the UK with the car sitting in the driveway, just you know, sat at around 50% state of charge. So really nothing we could do about it. It was what it was, and we kind of, you know, just took it for we'll deal with it when we get back. So in terms of adapting our road trip habits, the only road trip that's really been affected by this has been the Labor Day travel that we had down to Pennsylvania. To go for gather with family over there in the west of Pennsylvania. That was obviously a trip from Boston, so that's a good 600 miles or so of travel. We were only charging up to 90% anyway, so that wasn't really a change in habit. It's plenty. You still get in summer 200, 210 miles or so from that first 90% of the pack, so not a big deal. The lower end proved to be a little bit more challenging. The guidance officially says try not to go below 70 miles of charge where possible. Slightly odd given that you have a percentage range for the upper kind of limit, but obviously when you're driving, the Bolt EV doesn't actually display the percentage state of charge in car, so you have to kind of go by either miles or the level of bars that you have here. Does it in 5% increments. That is presumably why they went with miles, because you can easily see whether you're above or below 70 miles. However, it does kind of, it's not the most accurate guidance, because, you know, say you get hot around 85, 90 miles, you turn that AC on, suddenly you're cranking that, and that means you dip right down. The where possible is the biggest caveat. That's the most important part. We did go slightly below that 70 miles on parts of our trip, simply because the gap between charges can be 125, 150 miles, and you need to use a lot of that range. But essentially we've stuck between that, you know, kind of 30 to 90% range for most of our travels, even down to the road trips, and that's been about it. It hasn't been that much of a change. We park outside on a driveway anyway. No real big deal. Didn't feel like it was very likely at all to have any problems, even though one of the later fires has been in a 2020 model, which is why, you know, one of the contributing reasons to expand that recall to all Bolt EVs. None of their previous delineations to try and kind of cap that recall to previous model years proved to be true, at least, so they had to expand it out, and it's kind of been limbo since then for a lot of people. We didn't actually get any recall letter in the mail or any kind of official correspondence until mid-September, when we'd been back a few weeks anyway, so it's only really starting to get to an advance point for us when we got those letters. And then you had the kind of ridiculous guidance last week that wasn't really on the official page or anything, but they had some advisors saying don't park your car within 50 feet of other cars. Specifically, this was supposed to apply to, you know, parking garages, covered garages, that kind of thing. But it's spun out of control. The media machine gets into it and starts to, you know, go with the most hyperbolic version of the story, even though this hasn't appeared on the official recall page. And out you go. Suddenly that's the thing. Bolts can't be parked near any vehicles. Right now I'm, you know, 5 foot from a vehicle. It's just weighing that risk, and obviously someone has said something, a few people have heard it, and it's gone from there. But luckily right now we do have a little bit more information, which kind of, as I was recording, you know, setting up recording here, started to break. So we'll get into that. Much more positive news. It means I don't have to dwell on kind of the crazy more, you know, tabloidy ends of the headlines. We can get into a real fix right now. Initially, GM wanted to fix this with a software fix and tried to maintain that supplier relationship. Well, that's kind of unraveled a little bit in a similar way to it as it did with Hyundai, trying to trade blame and, you know, save some face. GM hasn't quite gone that far, but they've made it very clear, and the language has been stronger and stronger over the course of this recall, that they lay the responsibility here with LG to manufacture and produce batteries that are free from defects. So it's really getting to that point of identifying which are the most likely packs, getting that group of vehicles that were manufactured within that range, and hopefully replacing those battery packs with full, you know, defect-free both hardware and software. The problem that I've had with trying to cover this recall at all is just that, you know, they were quiet from November 2020 through to when it had a software fix in kind of April time. So we went a good solid 5 or 6 months there without any real information other than they're working on it round the clock. And then you had kind of light at the end of the tunnel, hopefully, with the software fix and being able to monitor the battery packs for kind of anything that would indicate thermal runaway or being unbalanced. And then, you know, you almost as quickly as the software was being rolled out and done at dealerships, more fires came on. You know, fires that people had said were cars that had had this patch applied, had the software diagnostic applied, and then obviously a 2020 kind of capped the need to expand that recall and just say, until we're 100% or as close as you can be that LG has defect-free batteries, we're going to have to kind of, you know, just put this on pause. And, you know, in reality, it's only been a month here between the expanded recall to all bolts and what they're announcing today, or what they're trying to roll out in terms of, you know, they'll begin production again on the latest bolt models in mid-October. And that's kind of the timeline of this, you know, 4 to 8 weeks where it's going to resume production of the battery packs today that they are hopefully now confident will be defect free, and get those produced out to dealerships and into the cars. You know, of just this game of telephone of someone on the concierge line has said this, it changes from, you know, being careful in a parking deck to a very specific 50 feet number, which is just nuts because nobody can live with that. It's a shame that that was kind of something that got out of hand and had a weekend to kind of snowball. There's obviously buybacks have been pursued by a lot of people. Some people have got successful buybacks and then went into a 2020, 2021 model, which is even worse. I feel really bad for those people. But, you know, as ourselves, it hasn't impacted our daily use of the car at all. It has impacted one road trip, you know, over one weekend for a small amount. We maybe did an extra charge session or two, but I don't want to really linger on it. It's not that interesting. I'd rather get out here, and now that we can say the battery production has resumed, and hopefully this is kind of a fix that will put all this in the rear view and get the Bolt back to what it should be, which is one of the most affordable long-range electric cars on the market, and, you know, now something that we hope will start propping up the used market as they get these fixes in place. And beyond that, you know, what our next moves are, because we had always, before, you know, recall, regardless, we had always said that we're going to upgrade. You know, we want something that is larger for the family as they grow, that will do much faster charging is one of the big things. We get a lot of road trips, so, you know, something certainly minimum of 100 kilowatts is what we're looking at. But beyond that, you know, is there something that can do this, you know, Ioniq 5 EV6 level of charging that kind of fits into our budget and suitability? And then obviously the range. You know, at the luxury end of the market, you're starting to see obviously 400 plus from the Teslas of the S and the X, and then the Lucid is going to really put the cat amongst the pigeons with its 520 miles now confirmed by the EPA. Again, you know, a very expensive end of the market, but that stuff trickles down. You know, eventually we get these ranges and this technology, and then stuff like the Hyundai Kia kind of platform being able to charge up to that 200 plus kilowatts. Ultium coming down the way if GM can get its you know, battery technology sorted out to a much better level. Rivian's launching with, you know, customer production vehicles this last week or two. So there's a lot to be positive on, and I want to get a lot of the takeaways from our road trips over the summer, because there's some important work I think to be done both on charging and on the models that are coming out. So that's what I want to get into a lot more in the next few months as we close out the year. I'll talk a lot about what we're planning to do in regard to maybe replacing the Bolt. Depends how the recall goes, I guess. So that's something to watch for in future videos. That's what we're going to be kind of moving on to now as things start to progress and we have any information on our 2020 involvement in the recall. We'll obviously kind of cover that. But there's a lot of other stuff on the channel that you'll see coming, and the resumption of kind of series that we'd started and want to kind of resume here. So more coffee and kilowatts, more EV discussion, and then some stuff from local EV experts, that kind of thing, owner stories as well, and getting back to some of the easy EV entries. We did the first entrance in that, and I want to do more additions to help new EV buyers kind of find their feet and see from someone who's, you know, been in these things for a good 5 years now what how the ground looks and what they can expect. So that's where we are. Again, apologies for the delays there. It was not intended. I had hoped to be able to keep on knocking out the road trip videos during August, but travel and work and everything that comes with it kind of took its toll. So here we are, middle of September, just trying to catch up. We'll finish up the road trip videos, and then we'll have some new and exciting stuff for you coming soon. So what have you been up to? How was your summer? How was your EV charging? Have you been caught up in this Bolt EV recall and just you know, going through it day after day on the Facebook groups or the boards? Let me know how you're doing down in the comments, and we'll get this all underway again. Thanks for watching, thanks for your patience, and I'll see you in the next one.